Over 2 billion cups of coffee are consumed worldwide every single day. That morning cup you barely think about represents a journey spanning 3 continents, involving hundreds of people, and requiring precision at every stage from tropical mountainside to your kitchen counter. A single coffee bean, smaller than your fingernail, contains over 1,000 different chemical compounds that must be carefully preserved and developed through harvesting, processing, roasting, and brewing to create that perfect cup. Yet few people understand the remarkable transformation required to turn a bitter cherry pit into the world's most beloved beverage. That rich aroma filling your kitchen doesn't happen by accident. Instead, coffee begins as a red fruit growing on trees in remote mountain regions, requiring an extraordinary combination of agriculture, chemistry, and craftsmanship before becoming the drink that powers civilization. So how does a tropical cherry become the complex beverage that billions of people depend on every morning? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover will change the way you experience every sip of coffee, right here on Stories Behind Everything. Coffee's history stretches back over 1,000 years to Ethiopia, where legend says a goat herder noticed his animals became energetic after eating berries from a certain tree. The practice spread through the Arab world, reaching Yemen by the 15th century. European traders encountered coffee in the 1600s, and despite initial suspicion, it spread rapidly. By the 1700s, European powers established massive plantations in tropical colonies. Today, coffee is the world's second most traded commodity after petroleum, with over 25 million farmers across 70 countries. Brazil produces nearly 40% of the world's coffee, followed by Vietnam, Colombia, and Indonesia. The industry supports over 125 million people worldwide. Everything begins on coffee farms in the Bean Belt, the region between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. Coffee trees require altitudes between 2,000 and 6,000 feet, temperatures between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and volcanic soil. The 2 main species are Arabica, producing complex flavors at higher altitudes, and Robusta, which is hardier and more caffeinated. Arabica accounts for 60% of global production. Coffee trees take 3 to 4 years to produce their first harvest. The trees produce white flowers that develop into coffee cherries over 6 to 9 months. The cherries ripen unevenly, turning from green to yellow to red to burgundy. Determining optimal ripeness requires expertise because cherries on the same branch ripen at different rates. Harvesting methods determine quality. Strip picking removes all cherries at once, mixing ripe with unripe ones. Selective picking involves hand-picking only ripe cherries during multiple passes over several weeks. This labor-intensive method is used for specialty coffees and requires pickers to return to the same tree 5 to 7 times. Experienced pickers harvest 100 to 200 pounds of cherries daily, yielding just 20 to 40 pounds of green beans after processing. Cherries must be processed quickly as they begin fermenting within hours. Processing removes the fruit surrounding the bean. The washed process uses depulping machines to remove skin and pulp. Beans covered in sticky mucilage are fermented in water tanks for 12 to 48 hours while enzymes break down the mucilage. After fermentation, beans are washed and dried on patios. The natural process involves spreading whole cherries in the sun for 3 to 4 weeks until moisture drops from 60 to 11%. The fruit dries around the bean, imparting fruity flavors. The honey process removes skin but leaves varying amounts of mucilage on the bean during drying. After drying, the dried parchment layer surrounding the bean must be removed through hulling. Hulling machines use friction and pressure to strip away the parchment without damaging the delicate beans. The beans are then sorted by size using screens with different sized holes. Density sorting uses air columns or vibrating tables to separate lighter defective beans from denser high-quality ones. Finally, optical sorters equipped with cameras and high-speed air jets remove discolored, broken, or defective beans at rates exceeding 10 tons per hour. What remains is green coffee, which has a grassy smell and would taste terrible if brewed. Green coffee is remarkably stable and can be stored for a year or more without significant degradation, which is why it's shipped globally in 60-kilogram burlap sacks or bulk containers from producing countries to consuming countries. Roasting is where the magic happens, transforming bland green beans into aromatic brown coffee through the application of heat and chemistry. Commercial roasters are massive rotating drums, often processing several hundred pounds of beans per batch. The beans are loaded into the preheated drum, which rotates continuously to ensure even heating. As temperature rises, several distinct stages occur. At around 300 degrees Fahrenheit, the beans turn yellow and emit a grassy smell as moisture evaporates. At approximately 385 degrees, the Maillard reaction begins, the same chemical process that browns bread and sears steak. Sugars and amino acids react, creating hundreds of new flavor and aroma compounds. The beans turn brown and develop their characteristic coffee smell. At about 385 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, first crack occurs. The beans expand and release moisture and carbon dioxide with an audible popping sound resembling popcorn. This marks the beginning of light roast territory. As temperature continues rising toward 435 degrees, chemical reactions intensify. Oils migrate to the bean surface, creating a shiny appearance. At approximately 440 to 450 degrees, second crack occurs, a quieter crackling as the bean structure breaks down further. Beyond second crack lies dark roast territory, where roasting flavors begin dominating origin characteristics. The roast master monitors temperature, time, color, and sound while making continuous adjustments to achieve the desired roast profile. Every origin and blend requires different treatment to optimize its characteristics. Immediately after reaching the target roast level, beans are rapidly cooled using air or water spray to stop the roasting process. This cooling must happen quickly or the beans continue cooking from residual heat, becoming over-roasted. The roasted beans are then rested for 12 to 24 hours to allow carbon dioxide generated during roasting to degas. If packaged immediately, the CO2 would cause bags to explode. One-way valves on coffee bags allow gas to escape while preventing oxygen from entering. Roasted coffee begins losing flavor and aroma immediately through oxidation and continued degassing. This is why coffee tastes best within 2 weeks of roasting, and why serious coffee enthusiasts seek freshly roasted beans. Grinding exposes tremendous surface area, accelerating flavor loss dramatically. Pre-ground coffee loses most of its volatile aromatic compounds within hours. This is why grinding immediately before brewing produces vastly superior results. Grind size must match brewing method. Espresso requires very fine grounds, almost powder-like, to withstand the high pressure and short contact time. Drip coffee uses medium grounds. French press needs coarse grounds to prevent sediment in the cup. The consistency of the grind is equally important as the size. Inconsistent grinding produces a mix of particle sizes that extract at different rates, creating bitter and sour flavors simultaneously. Brewing is the final transformation, extracting soluble compounds from ground coffee into water. Proper brewing requires controlling 4 variables: ratio of coffee to water, water temperature, contact time, and turbulence. The standard ratio is about 1 gram of coffee per 16 to 18 grams of water, though preferences vary. Water temperature should be between 1905 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooler water under-extracts, producing weak sour coffee. Hotter water over-extracts, creating bitter flavors and burning delicate compounds. Contact time varies by method. Espresso extracts in 25 to 30 seconds under 9 bars of pressure. Drip coffee brews in 4 to 6 minutes. French press steeps for 4 minutes. Cold brew requires 12 to 24 hours at room temperature or refrigerated. During brewing, water dissolves and suspends numerous compounds. Early in extraction, acids and bright flavors emerge. Mid-extraction brings sweetness and body. Late extraction pulls out bitter compounds. The art of brewing is stopping extraction when desirable flavors are maximized before excessive bitterness develops. Coffee contains over 1,000 chemical compounds, including caffeine, chlorogenic acids, and volatile aromatics. A typical cup contains 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine, absorbed rapidly and reaching peak blood concentration within 30 to 45 minutes. Its half-life is about 5 hours. Dark roasts contain slightly less caffeine than light roasts, because prolonged roasting breaks down some caffeine molecules. Coffee also contains antioxidants that may provide health benefits, though excessive intake can cause anxiety and insomnia. Coffee farming can be environmentally sustainable when practiced under shade trees, but intensive sun-grown plantations dominate in many regions, contributing to deforestation. Water usage in wet processing is substantial. The industry has adopted certifications like Fair Trade and Organic to address these concerns. Fair Trade guarantees minimum prices to farmers and invests in community development. The specialty coffee movement emphasizes quality, sustainability, and transparency. Specialty roasters establish direct relationships with farmers, paying premium prices for exceptional beans. This direct trade model returns more value to producers, while giving roasters access to the finest beans. The next time you brew your morning coffee, remember the extraordinary journey those beans completed. Remember the farmers on remote mountainsides hand-picking ripe cherries. Remember the careful fermentation and drying that develops flavor complexity. Remember the sorting machines removing defective beans one by one. Remember the roasting drum reaching 400 degrees Fahrenheit as chemical reactions create hundreds of aromatic compounds. Remember the precision required in grinding and brewing to extract the perfect balance of flavors. Coffee doesn't simply appear ready to drink. It's cultivated through agricultural expertise across multiple harvests, processed using methods refined over centuries, roasted through the careful application of heat and chemistry, and brewed with attention to ratios, temperature, and timing. It represents the accumulated knowledge of countless people across the supply chain, each contributing specialized skills. And that cup you're drinking is a testament to global trade, agricultural science, and human dedication to transforming a bitter seed into one of civilization's most cherished rituals. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you proper recognition for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories discovered through the smallest details.